Hello, hello, and welcome to another art video. I know it's been a while since I've done one of these. Well, mainly because they take a lot of work and they take a lot of effort, and I'm not always sure if it's worth it to do it on camera. Whew, sorry, I'm a little winded today, so bear with me. I'm allergies and all that. So, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here. What a great start. But I'm not starting over. So, when it comes to making characters for my channel, this is weirding me out because the camera's upside down. I'm actually over here on my screen. That's weird. That's gonna take some getting used to. But, so, I have a couple of characters for my YouTube channel. I've got Sixth, my Ceratosaurus, who uses my personal skin. And then I also have my Achillo, who is uncreatively named Claw Commander Jynn, because I didn't think of a good name for her, so she's just Jynn Jr. And when it comes to creating a character, I wanted to make her a bit unique from the Path of Titans version. This is relevant. Trust me, this is relevant, okay? As I sit here gesturing. I actually gesture a lot when I talk. You guys just don't see it because I don't use webcams. Oh, these stupid allergies, though. Ooh. Take a moment, breathe. Okay, so I wanted to design a character for my Achillo that wasn't a direct one-to-one copy of the Path of Titans version for two reasons. I wanted to be able to use it wherever and whenever I wanted. And two, the skin I use for Path of Titans is kind of complicated and hard to draw, so I needed to simplify it and make it a little unique. And these are old pictures, but they are still relevant. So on my screen, that was right side up. I might have to switch this camera around. But yeah, so when I made a character for my Achillo, I decided, well, first off, I admit it, I'm a scaly raptor fan. Jurassic Park has always had a place in my heart, and, I know it's not accurate, but I still have a soft spot for scaly raptors. And I took that in because, my Achillo has a different colored head, as well as that vulture feathery ruff around her neck, so I was like, what if her head is scaly? Not skin and flesh like a vulture, but actually like a scaly raptor. So I gave her a bald, reptilian, scaly, classic JP raptor head. And then, of course, the feathered body. She has her vulture ruff. But I had to simplify her to draw her because the Path of Titans version is kind of complicated. So I gave her a golden brown body. I simplified the stripes to just a, more stylized version. I took away all the markings on the wings to make them easier to draw. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because I found the Beasts of the Mesozoic Achillo, who is pretty much exactly that. It has, hold on. Oop, there we go. If it will focus camera. I don't have the best webcam, I apologize. If I do this more often, I would get a better one, but it has the scaly head, and it has the vulture. Man, I need to rotate this camera. It has the vulture ruff. So I was like, oh my gosh, I want to get this, and I want to repaint this as my Path of Titans character, Achillo, for my YouTube. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take my design, and we're gonna paint it on this, and I'm gonna do a video on it. But first, I'm going to try and rotate this camera around so it actually orients to how I'm seeing things, because this is going to get confusing. There we go. I think that's better. Yeah, now when I come in from the bottom, my hand is coming in from the bottom instead of being reversed and coming in from the top. Perfect. Lovely. It's a little cattywampus now. Sorry. It only takes up a small area of my desk compared to, this is my hobby desk, and it's kind of big, but the camera only picks up a small area of it. So yeah, like I was saying, I have a couple of pictures here I did. I drew these, by the way, with ink and markers, but so I spent a lot of work designing the character to where it looks like my Path of Titans version, but it's also kind of unique. I'll show you the rest of the pictures I made. I have a whole bunch more. These are just the ones I felt like sharing with the scaly head, but, it's just experimenting with her. Yeah. I like this one. I think this one came out really well. I really like my Path of Titans Achillo. And so when I saw this one, I had to get it and try to paint it. Now, you might be wondering why her mouth is rubber banded shut. It's not just because, she's prone to biting, which she is, but it's also because her jaw was crooked when she came out of the package. and I'm trying to set it. So I'll go ahead and cover how I do that, because I mean, if anyone else ever does this, they might want to know. I cannot guarantee it worked yet because I haven't taken the rubber band off yet. Oh, these allergies, man. Whoo-wee. Gotta love pollen season, right? Anyways, so what I did was first I rubber banded her jaw in the position I wanted it to be. And then I ran the hinges for the jaw and basically the whole head in hot water. What this does is that loosens the plastic. It kind of softens it up. It makes it easier to manipulate. And then I made sure the jaw was where I wanted it to be. And then I ran it under cold water, which will stiffen the plastic again. This works for a lot of plastic, different types of plastic miniatures and stuff, but depending on what kind of plastic, you can have different results. I'm not sure how well it worked on this, but we're gonna try it. Let's do it on camera. But yeah, her jaw was completely crooked. She looked like Broken Jaw the Aloe. So let's see. No, that seemed to work because her jaw was like that. If it like that when I came out of the package, but it's hard to tell if this camera's focusing or not. But yeah, that looks pretty good. So she can be unmuzzled now. She has her joints are very stiff. She can't open her jaws very far. But yeah, it's a pretty cool miniature. I can't wait to repaint it as mine. Her legs don't have a lot of bending. Like, she doesn't really bend at the knees. Just kind of a shame, but oh well. So the first step to repainting one of these is priming it. Yeah, if you can hear my cat in the background, I'm sorry. He's yelling at me. Now, there are certain areas I don't want to repaint. Those are being like the eyeball and the claws. And to counter that, sorry for any rattling, I have what's called poster tack. Now, as its name suggests, this is a tacky, sticky substance that is used to hang posters and other lightweight artwork, so you don't have to poke holes in the wall. And it's blue, and you can... So I like to use this to cover areas I don't want to get primer on. Rubber cement would also work, but I don't have any. What? Silly cat. What are you doing? What? I'm busy. Anyways, so I'm going to take like a little circle of it. I'm just going to squish it on her eyeball. Give her her little spa cucumber mask here. And now, ideally, I want it to cover only her eye and nothing else. Stop poking. He's poking me in the back while I'm trying to do this. What? What? You want to see my cat? Here's my cat. Look at that. It's a cat. What are you doing? Why can't I do this? Why are you out here being this way? Sorry for the cat interruption. The catermission, the intermission. You want to help me? I don't really want help. Cat, can you? I'm trying to work here. Anyways, so we got one eye done, and we're gonna do the other eye. But like I said, you want it to cover pretty much exactly the area you want and not too much extra, because otherwise you're gonna have to go through extra work of painting that and getting it to match while he sits here nuzzling everything. Can you get down now? You said hi to everybody. Can you get down now? Without hitting the camera? Come here. Come here. Oh, you hit the camera. Oh, we have a chaos. Oh, chaos. All right, hold on. How was this? Can't do a face reveal. No. Jynn isn't doing no face reveal today. Sorry. Okay, camera should be set back up. Cat is gone. So now we can go back to what we were doing, which is getting this set up. And like I said, I want it to cover pretty much exactly the eye and nothing else. So I'm just squishing it around, making sure it covers exactly what I want it to cover. So she's got her little cucumber masks in for her spa. Now we're going to cover all her little claws with little claw caps, you know? Won't she look beautiful? She's probably, if this was a real character, she'd be yelling and screaming at me because that's just what the character is. All right, so we're just going to fold that. I know it's probably hard to tell. Oh, she has sharp claws. Ooh, ouch, that hurt. Got careful. All right, so I'm going to just cover each little claw with a nice cap of poster tack. because they're nice and shiny and black, and I don't really want to redo that. I don't want to do that myself. It's unnecessary work to have to repeat that, so I just want to make sure that her fingers themselves are revealed, because I am repainting the fingers. It's the claws I want to cover, not the fingers. Her claws are sharp and are poking through, though, so that's no good. Obey. Obey, girl. Obey. Yeah, I wasn't very creative when I named her, so this is Jynn Jr., Claw Commander Jynn. She's well known on the NatHist server. I don't play her as much anymore, but I am trying to get back into playing her more. However, when Achillo first came out and I was playing her all the time, she was so notorious that people would actually not go to where I hunted, even if I wasn't online, just because they were scared of me. So that's amusing. That makes me smile and laugh, and, you know, it's kind of funny. I doubt they do that anymore because I haven't played in a while, but it was pretty funny. This is taking forever. All right, you know what? We'll just leave the eyes. We'll paint the claws, whatever. They're gonna be pure black. We can paint them. It's fine. It's fine. Whatever. They're being very difficult to cover with the poster tack, so we'll just leave the eyeballs. All right. How about inside her mouth? Well, her mouth is very hard to open. I think. Oh, she has such stubby teeth. You poor thing. Don't worry. I know you're deadly, even with your stubby teeth. All right, so I'm going to take her outside and prime her. You're not going to see that part, but we'll start painting afterwards. So, hooray. Hello and welcome back. I am done priming. It has actually been several hours because I was giving it time to air out because, you know, it's pretty smelly after you prime. And then it was kind of late in the day, so it's like, I'm going to do what I did for the T-Rex I painted, and I'm going to do one half of it on my own. That way I can figure out where the colors should go, what colors I should use, get a foundation to start on so that when I record doing it, it's not as long and chaotic as that step usually is. So, one side is completely unpainted. I'm going to do that here on camera. And then the other side, I have done a kind of an idea of what I want her to look like. Trying to make sure I don't hit my water cup that I use for painting. So, as you can see, I tried to match her pretty well. I did the creamy off-white head. She's got red eyes. I don't think the camera's going to focus. Can you focus on her eyes? Red eyes, the brown vulture ruff, golden brown body, the rusty red feathers, and I'm still deciding what color I want her feet and hands to be. Right now they're brown. I have not done finer details yet. I haven't done like the stripes or anything. This is just to figure out the main colors so that I could do it on camera quickly and to the point and without all the wiffle waffling that I do when I'm trying to decide what colors to go where. So we will paint this side of her on camera. And before I do that though, let me talk about my paints a little bit because I know some people who want to paint themselves probably have some questions. I need to move this over there. Okay. Oh, I'm still a little asthma-y today, so bear with me if I sound out of breath or whatever. It's what happens when I try to talk while I can't breathe. So I have two kinds of paint. I have this big, it's not necessarily this brand, but you can find this kind of craft paint in basically any hobby store. They're usually not that expensive, and there's a tiny little fruit fly buzzing in my face. But I also have this kind of paint. So in the miniature painting hobby, for like gaming miniatures or small models, we have what's called hobby paint and craft paint. The difference is, for one, price. This is a lot cheaper. This is more expensive. And the reasoning that I am talking about this is because there is a big difference between these. And that is, this is a much thicker paint. It's very goopy. It's what you would expect paint to be. It's very thick, very goopy. This is a lot thinner, I guess you would say waterier, a lot more liquidy. And the difference that has is when you have fine details like the, you probably can't see it, but you know, you have like the feather, the lines in the feathers, or the scales on the head. Or let me find a example miniature. I've got so many. There has to be one around here. We'll use this one. Hold on. There we go. Sorry, I have a lot of miniatures. So let's say this this pewter dragon, which is for like Dungeons and Dragons. You know, it has all these little scales, and it's got texture on the wings, and it's got little tiny teeth, you know. Paint like this, which is a lot thicker of a paint, will gum up those details faster. Does that make sense? You know, using a little too much of this, you'll fill in all those gaps, all that texture, all the scales, and they'll just be gone because they're filled in with paint. That's why miniature painters tend to use the more liquidy paint, because it's thinner. It doesn't fill in those gaps nearly as quick. It still can if you use too much, but not nearly as fast. So I'll just set that over there. For this purposes, I'm going to be using the what's called hobby paint, the miniature paint from, I get it from Reaper Miniatures, but you can find all kinds of brands, and not the craft paint. I use craft paint for things that don't really have a lot of detail, like you know, miniatures come on bases. I'll paint the bases, like her little see-through stand here. I probably will use this kind of paint to paint that. So like, there's purposes to have both. I also canvas paint on, you know, canvases, and I use this for that too, of course. But for her, we're gonna be using the fancy stuff. So let's get started on that. I'm gonna just do exactly what I did on this side, telling you what I did as I go. Also, I forgot to share, I have a little version that I made of her. It's not finished. I haven't finished the head yet. I added the feathers. I sculpted the feathers on her because she was one of these guys. I have a bunch of, these are D&D gaming miniatures. I have a bunch of these little raptors, and I decided I wanted to turn one into my Path of Titans Achillo, so I hand sculpted feathers on her. I just have to finish painting her head and stuff. So that's fun. Here's an example of ones that I experimented on but never finished. You can see the green stuff is all stuff I added to try and give them feathers. It's probably blurry because I have a crappy webcam. But yeah, so that's fun. Anyways, let's get to painting. I'm sorry my webcam quality is not the greatest. I'm going to start with an off-white color. I have my little paint palette right here. It's dirty already, sorry about that. So I'm just going to squeegee out a bunch of that. Put that over there. Gotta find my brush, there's my brush. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the head, and I'm just gonna, other than the eyeball, I'm gonna just cover it with this off-white color. Now, like I said, this is a very thin paint, so you have to do multiple layers of it. I need to use my paint palette like right here where I can reach it better. Gotta try and make sure I stay on the camera. And right now I'm not worried about doing like shadows and highlights. Right now we're just trying to get the basic colors in. That's called color blocking. I'm just color blocking it in. Or it's also called a base coat. I am color blocking, I am base coating, whatever you want to call it. That is this step. We're just getting the basic colors in before we worry about doing anything else. Now, I'm not a professional painter. I have my own self-taught way of doing things. I'm not saying this is the best way. This is just my way. Oh, I also forgot to mention her jaw is crooked again. I don't know. I tried everything I could think of, but her jaw just won't sit straight. So we'll just have to live with that. Kind of a shame, considering what I spent on it, that it has that kind of defect, but It's only noticeable if you look at her head on, so I guess it's okay. We'll just, you know, I'm going to be looking at her from the side when she's on display anyways. All right, we're going to carefully go around the eye because I don't want to get paint on the eye. I have crappy brushes. I probably should have bought new brushes for this, but we'll just have to deal with it. Sorry. Yeah, I know this is probably a terrible art video, but I wanted to do one even though I know I have bad quality camera and bad quality brushes. But I really like my Path of Titans Achillo, and I wanted to do this. So, and I thought if I'm going to do this, I might as well do it on camera because it seems like a lot of people like my Path of Titans Achillo and the character I created for her. So why not paint her? So we're just going to keep covering the head, cover up all that primer with this off-white color. Now we need to make sure we twist the neck so we can get in all these gaps over here. God, I wish I could see if this camera was focusing. Are you focusing at all? It's so hard to tell. Apologies, I'm kind of spazzy. But I want to paint, so I'm here painting. But yeah, we're not worrying about anything else. We're just worrying about getting the basic colors down. Make sure to squeeze that paintbrush through the segments of her neck. There we go. Nice little base coat on that. We're going to leave that as is, let that dry a little bit. I am going to get some more of that off-white color, off-white cream. But now we're also going to add another color. We're going to add this lovely beige. We're not going to add them together, but we're going to put them side by side. And then we're adding another color. I know, right? We're adding, I can't even see what this one's label is, buckskin pale. Kind of a golden yellow. Oh, it don't want to come out. Make sure. Yeah, okay, I am using the right colors. I just need this buckskin pale to actually come out of its bottle. Sometimes the bottles get stopped up, and that's when you use this. It's literally just a metal needle on a stick. And you poke it into the nozzle, and you pull it out, and that clears any blockages that might be in there. Oops, see, it's already oozing out the top. There's some sort of blockage in there. I'm going to let that tip down. Okay, so now we're going to move the wing out of the way so we can properly get to the belly. Move the leg back. Oh, you see I missed a whole area of priming right here, but that's okay. So we're going to go back to our off-white. Make sure I'm on camera. We're going to just start with I always like to start with the light colors and work my way up to the darker colors. If you do it in the reverse, your light colors are going to be tainted by the dark colors that you used earlier. So I like to go from light to dark. Like I said, this is just my way. Other people might have better ways, but this is my art video, so we're going to be doing things my way. We're going to go over this whole dark area where I didn't prime. Just get a base coat of that pale cream in there. But now, while that paint is still wet, we're going to add the buckskin pale color, or the beige. We're going to add the beige. While that's still wet, we're adding the beige to it so they mix. If you do it while they're still wet, they will mix automatically. Well, maybe not automatically, but a lot easier. It's a lot easier to blend if stuff is still wet. So while we're adding the buckskin pale, while we're adding the beige, we're going to start adding the buckskin pale. Just like that. You see how we can go from white to beige to gold and yellow. Oops, I stuck it in the wrong paint, but that's okay. That's all right. And now, as we go through the buckskin pale, we want some of the light brown. So we're going to get some of the light brown now. And as we do the buckskin up her side, we're going to start adding the brown in. Like I said, things are just easier to mix if they're already wet. If you let it dry, it's going to be a lot harder to blend them. And you can go down a little bit. You don't have to, We gotta move this feather ruff out of the way so I can get underneath it. There you go. Yeah, just add more of that buckskin in there. We're gonna start doing the leg a little bit. Gotta really like, this is why my brushes are ruined. You have to really like dig it in there to get it into feather details. Get some more of this brown here. And now, like I said, this is not the final coat. This is just the first coat. We have more to do after this. But this is a start. It's just getting the basic colors down. And like I said, with this very thin paint, you want to do multiple layers. So this is literally just the first layer to do. All right, I need a little bit more of this. Squeegee, squeegee. Oop, I need a little bit more of the heartwood brown. Because now we're gonna, see, this has dried now, but it's still very dark compared to the area that was primed. So that's gonna need another layer, which means we need more of that cream color too. I'll have to figure out a good time to stop this video and start a part 2 because it's definitely going to be too long for a single video. Oops, see, okay, I still had stuff on my brush, so now my white is colored cream. But it's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the world. We can, once it's dry, we can go back over it and fix it. I'm not going to bother right now because we're going to have to go over it again anyways because I didn't prime that area. So it needs more coats. So not the end of the world. We'll just let it be. Go up in here a little bit. Get some more of that buckskin. Get some more of this heartwood brown up in here. Am I on camera? I am on camera. Sorry, I don't do this very often. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work, and I'm not sure how many people actually watch these videos or like them, so that's why I don't do art videos very often. I'm not sure how many people actually care. But hey, for those of you that are watching, I do appreciate it. Go away, little fly. Shoo, don't bother me. All right, we're gonna just do the leg. And much like with the belly, with the leg, you're gonna wanna change colors from dark to light as you go down. And it's okay because you don't need pure white legs, so if the colors are a little contaminated, that's okay. Don't worry about it. Okay. Now we're gonna let that dry for a moment. And I'm gonna get some of my darker brown. Okay. It doesn't take long to dry. For the miniature paints, the little paints I'm using, it does not take them long to dry. The craft paints, they take a lot longer to dry because again, they're thicker. So this stuff dries pretty quick. Like it's still a little tacky. You can see I touched it. I have yellow on my finger. It's still a bit tacky, but it's good enough. So if you notice, we have a much darker brown along the spine here. Ooh, that looks terrible right there. Let's fix that up. This dark feather ruff covered so many areas for the priming, but that's okay. We can fix it. There. Now you never even know. All right, we are going to firstly do this feather ruff. Trying to make sure I stay in camera. I don't want to get the brown all over the place, so I'm trying to be careful where I paint it. And by all over the place, I mean off the ruff onto the neck or the body. So I'm just gonna cover that up there. And you're gonna get paint on your hands. Like, it's just gonna happen. Just, you know, you'll have to put up with it. It's part of painting. Oop, I goobered on our wing a little bit, but that's okay. All right, we got her ruff done. Now we're gonna do a line of dark brown down her back. We're gonna blend it into the line that's already there. Shouldn't be too hard to do. And now we're going to do the reverse of the belly up. We're going to go back down from dark brown to buckskin, including on the leg. And Am I on camera? Okay, there we go. And then we're going to add a little bit of that beige in there. Or, sorry, this is the buckskin. I'm getting all my colors mixed up. Going to add a little bit of that buckskin in there as we go down. Make sure to get the hind leg, which needs more brown. Because the brown, actually I didn't do a lot of brown on the hind leg, but we do need more brown anyways. But yeah, from the belly up you go light to dark, but when you start from the top down you can just gradually add in more of the light colors. We can add in a little bit of that beige down here. And I mean, it's in progress. A little bit more dark brown up here. I haven't done any of her stripes yet, of course. There you go. So there's her body so far, and her head. The wing, I did fairly golden, so we could go ahead and do that arm. Let's do the heartwood brown again. Some more of that. And we'll get some more of the buckskin. These two colors are the majority of her body color. I say we finish the base coat, and then I'll pause the video or stop the video and make a part 2. Seems like a good spot for a part 2. All right, so I'm trying not to paint the fingers if I can help it, even though I'm probably going to use this color for them later. Add a little bit of heartwood mixed with that buckskin to get a nice golden color. Sorry, it's hard to paint and make sure I'm on my tiny camera space as well. I'm trying to make sure I do, though. All right. Gotta make sure to move this wing so you can get the joints back in there. Now we're gonna do the long tail. Her long, adorable tail. We also, again, gotta move the tail so we can get in the seams. Otherwise, you're going to have big, giant black seams from where the old paint job is still sitting. But you got to be careful, because if you move too much, the tail's going to pop off, and then you have to go through all the effort of putting it back on. And that's never fun. It's not fun trying to get these tails on. All right. We need a lot of the browns. The dark brown, the light brown, the buckskin. We want all those browns in here. Actually, it's mostly the buckskin, or it's mostly the dark brown and the light brown. I have too much beige in there, so it's being the wrong color. But that's okay. We're going to fix it. I'm actually going to do both sides of the tail, because I didn't work on the tail much last night, so we could use another coat anyways. So we're going to start with the heartwood brown, which is the light brown color. And we're just going to go all the way down to the end, making sure to shove my brush into all the little nooks and crannies of the feathers. It'll save us trouble in the long run if we get it paint in there now. And again, if you're using the thicker paint, these feather details would be obscured pretty quickly. Okay. Need a little bit more of our dark brown, which isn't working properly because it's out. We need more dark brown. There we go. We're just gonna do a nice layer of the dark brown straight down the back. Oop, that was a little bit of a mistake. Let's just fix that up right there. There we go. I tend to go back and do stuff in the middle of working on other things. Apologies, I'm kind of chaotic and crazy. Imagine how it is if I don't have a pre-planned side to work off of, right? You should see me when I'm just kind of free winging it and just experimenting. I'm all over the place and it's hard to follow. It's easier if I do one side, get an idea for what I want to do, and then talk about it. Because if I'm trying to figure it out on camera, I'm gonna make a mess. All right, it's not pretty. That's okay. This is not the stage for making things pretty. This is the stage for getting paint on the miniature, or in this case, the action figure. It's not much of a miniature, is she? All right, we need more heartwood brown because I screwed up this right side of her. Whoops. That's what happens when Jynn tries to paint. We're gonna add some more heartwood here just to help it blend a bit more. And get a little bit more of this buckskin. Exactly the same as the other side, just And fixing my errors on this side. Okay. That looks all right. Now she is going to have stripes at some point once I figure out the best way to do the stripes. We'll figure that out in the next video. All right, this side still needs some better blending, so we're going to work on that real quick. Gotta make sure my fingers aren't in the way of the camera as well. Add a little bit more of this light brown on the leg. Need a little bit more of the light brown up here so it's more golden yellow and less tan. Okay. Let's wash the brush. We haven't washed it this whole time. Let's wash the brush. And now I'm going to get some more of this heartwood brown right here. And we're going to get some more of this creamy off-white color. And I'm going to get a new color, which is this little, wait, which color is it? This color, the buckskin. That's not a new color. It's the same color. I'm silly. We need a smaller brush, a very much thinner tipped brush. It should ideally be a sharp tip, but all my brushes are ruined, so it's kind of a fuzzy tip. That just means we won't get very crisp details. So, actually we need a bigger brush for the moment. Slightly bigger, not as big as the one we were using. There we go. This one has a little bit of a tip there. Now we're going to get the color in on the head here. So much like before, we're going to start light to dark. I wish her jaw wasn't crooked. Like, her jaw is so bad. I don't think the camera is going to focus on it, but I wish the jaw would go back in place. Maybe I need to rubber band her for like weeks at a time and see if that does anything, but I'll worry about that after we paint. But yeah, she doesn't want her jaw to sit right, which is sad. Anyways, we're going to go back to our off-white cream color. Ugh, you can just see the lower jaw sticking out over here. I really don't know what to do about that. But yeah, we're basically just put another coat of the lighter colored stuff because we're going to be blending the other colors in. But basically, her entire upper head is going to be more of a golden yellow color. So we're going to start with the buckskin. And again, you want to go carefully around the eye. We're going to have to probably repaint the eye a little bit anyways, but the less work we have to do there, the better. Come on. Just a little bit of paint around the eye. I'm going to bring it up along the top of the head. Now, you guys, if you paint, probably won't be doing it half and half like I did. I did it half and half to have a part to work on and also show you, so if I was doing this normally just myself, I would be painting the whole thing at once. How much of the neck? Okay, the neck doesn't actually have as much of that yellow brown. That's right. I have to remember what I did. It's getting dark over here. Let me turn my light on. Little light. Turn on. Turn on. There you go. Okay. Hopefully that doesn't wash the camera out, but it's a little overcast today, so I don't have a lot of natural light to work with, so I have to turn my little lamp on to help me out. All right, we're going to do the back of the neck. Try not to get it on the ruff that we just painted brown, but if you do, it's all right. We could paint more brown over it. Okay, we're going to go back to our off-white color, our cream. I'm going to add a little bit of that where the jaws are, just to help it blend a little. How much of that goes up? Not much of it goes up, okay. I'm going to try to blend it a little bit better. You gotta make sure you turn the head so you can get in the crannies, nooks and crannies there. Okay, now we're going to switch brushes a little bit, clean that off. We're going to take our little brush, and we're going to start adding in the darker browns. You want to do the shadows, so like around the eye socket, you want to paint that in with a bit of a darker brown. Ooh, all right, that's not a problem. Paint that around. I'm going to have to repaint this eye because I goobered on it, but that's okay. You want to kind of follow the shape of the skull a little bit. And it's not going to be perfectly blended at first. Don't worry, we'll get to that. You want to kind of shade the ring. Oh, I'm off the camera. Oops, sorry. You want to get some in the nostril, in the little ear. You want to shade the wrinkles that you see. Now, ideally, I want her to look scaly, not wrinkly, so I'm not going to like do a crazy job on the wrinkles because I don't want to emphasize that she's wrinkly. I want her to look more scaly than wrinkly. I want her to look kind of like Jurassic Park raptor head, not wrinkly, fleshy vulture head. Because in my mind, she is a feathered raptor with a scaly head like a Jurassic Park raptor has. And you know, it makes sense, because Achillo is theorized to have hunted things bigger than itself. And the whole reason vultures have bald heads is so when they feed on a carcass that's bigger than themselves, and they're pushing their whole head and mouth in there to eat, they're not getting blood on their feathers. So in my mind, it makes sense that she would have a vulture head, because if she's killing things bigger than herself and pushing her whole head inside to eat, she's probably not going to want feathers there either. So in my mind, at least, it makes sense. Now, I know my actual Path of Titans raptor does not have a bald head, but she with the skin I use and the health regen species, you could easily think or pretend. And that's what I do. I know my designed character for the dino is not perfect to the game, which is intentional. I didn't want it to be perfect to the game. Okay, I need a little bit more of this color to help us blend, because I didn't realize I was out on that. It's hot today. Oof. It's also hot under this painting light. Alright, that was actually too strong. We're going to add a little bit more of that brown back in there. This is where we do a little bit of blending with the lines we made. Basically, you want it to look fairly realistic. Animals aren't perfect. There's gonna be blotchiness. Only animal that's perfect are probably like tigers. For somehow they're just so super clean looking, even as a real animal. It's crazy. But I mean, we're starting. It's starting to look the same. We're gonna get our darker brown, which we don't actually have out. So let's get a tiny bit more of that. Oop, okay, let's get a lot more of that, apparently. Darker brown here. And we're going to just emphasize those shadows we already started doing. She has a very light colored head, so you don't want to go too dark. You don't want it to look like she has a brown head. But you do want to have some indicator of shadows in there. That's the trick to making something look realistic, is to have shadows and highlights. You don't want it to just be flat colored. Get a little bit of that darker brown in the nose. Get a little bit of it in the ear. Just kind of, if you mess up, don't be afraid to use your fingers and just kind of wipe it down a little. This side probably could actually use a little bit more of this as well, so let's just quickly wipe out, do this side too. Yeah, don't be afraid to use your fingers a little bit as well. I mean, it works. Redo the ears, the nose. Get a little bit more of that lighter brown in there, the golden brown. And then from there, add a little bit more of the buckskin. You just want everything to kind of believably blend together, but still have the indicator of darker shadows and lighter lights. That's cool. It kind of gives her like a little bit of a brown eye mask looking thing, which I am totally cool with. Okay. I'll clean our brush again. And since we got too much of this brown, let's go ahead and do her feet. All right, so we're just going to get pure brown, and we're just going to slather this whole ankle up. Just get all the... I'm trying to avoid painting the claws. I'm just trying to get the toes. Now, one of the sickle claw toe moves a little bit, so you're going to want to make sure to move that back and forth so you can get all the areas of it. Get the tops of her toes, the sides of her toes. Now, there's a lot of little scale details on here, so that it's going to make it harder to do a complete covering, so you have to work a little hard on the brush to get the paint in there. And that's why my brushes are ruined, is because I am rough with them to get them into textures. Some people water down their miniature paints. I don't really like to do that because I feel like it's too watery and then I can't make it spread properly. Get that foot out of the way so I can keep working on this foot. And we still have to do the interior of the leg too. Don't worry, that's coming up. All right, we need a little bit more of that brown. Just get those toes all painted up, nice and pretty. Nice and pretty toes. We're going to do her hand too, don't worry. Just trying to make sure I get all the feet first. There. Brown feet. I don't know if I'm going to keep her feet brown, but for now they're brown. All right, let's do her hands. And we still have to do the underside of the wings, the underside of the tail, and the feathers, but maybe I'll start that in the next video because this one's getting a bit long. And you know what they say, if you make videos too long, nobody watches them. It's better to do several shorter videos than one big long one, according to all the experts, because people don't watch the long ones on average. All right, so we're going to do the whole hand, but then we're going to add in a little bit of this lighter color here, because the underside of the palm, I'm going to make a lighter color than the top of the hand. Same with here. We're going to do the underside of the toes. Just make them a little bit of a lighter color than the top of the toes. Because, you know, that's how things work. The underside is always a different color. Okay. Now we got a lot of this brown still, so maybe I'll do another coating on her ruff and her back, just because we have the spare paint. What doesn't hurt to do another coat? Still have to figure out how to do her stripes. Her stylized version stripes are not very realistic, so I need to find a better way to do her stripes. I could do a little bit more on her feet because I can still see some of the primer in there. Okay. Get rid of this brown in here. With a little bit of this beige color. All right. And I think we'll call that one here, and I'll do a part 2, probably immediately after this. Like, as soon as I stop recording, I'll start recording again to do part 2, but there she is so far. Probably will only take 2 videos. Maybe. We'll see. But thank you for watching so far on me painting my Achillo character, the Claw Commander from Path of Titans. And I'll see you all in the next one.